Hello, this is a video on how to play the card game 1000. Now, 1000 is a harder card game than some of the other ones, but it is somewhat of medium difficulty. And so, 1000 is a trick taking game, and the way points are scored is quite arbitrary. It's different from any other card game, and honestly, it is somewhat tedious and somewhat, I guess, out of the ordinary. Um, but let's just start off with the game. And so the card game 1000 is for 3 players. And you'll need a 24 card deck with the aces down to the nines in each suit. That means the twos, the threes, the fours, the fives, the sixes, the sevens, and the eights will be scrapped of each suit, and so you'll be left with 24 cards. You'll also have to play with 3 players, and you'll also need a pen and a paper to keep score. And so each player will be dealt 7 cards, 1 card at a time. As you can see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards. My opponent has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards, and so that's for all players. 3 cards are dealt into the middle, 1 card at a time, with the middle falling before the dealer. Stop dealing to the middle once there are 3 cards, and continue dealing to each player until they have a total of 7 cards in their hand. And so there should be no extra cards. Notice how you start out with 24 cards, with 3 cards in the middle. That leaves you with 21 cards, 7 cards to each player. You should have no cards left. And the objective of the game is to be the first player to win 1000 points. Points being scored on the value of the cards won in the tricks taken. And so the total points possible by cards are 120 each round. And points can also be scored by having a marriage of a king and a queen in the same suit and leading with a king and a queen on a trick into a trick. So the card rank from the highest to the lowest, it's ace, 10, king, queen, jack, 9. And so the 10 is higher ranked than the royal cards, and that's sort of unconventional. Starting with the player to the left of the dealer, each player bids how many points he or she thinks they can win or pass on bidding. And so essentially the points you bid are the points you think you'll be able to win via tricks in the round. If a player makes a bid, the next player must make a bid 5 points higher, or they must pass. And so the minimum points that you can bid is actually 110. It's actually 100. In this case, we have a marriage, and so it's 110. But a player must raise the bid by at least 5 points every pass, and so we are actually going to pass here. And so simply, the essence of this is like so. You only want to bid if you know for sure that you can obtain those points through capturing tricks. And so if I bid 110 points, the only way I can get these 110 points is if I win the cards through the tricks, scoring 110 points. And so for each ace won through a trick, it's 11 points. For each 10 won through a trick, it's 10 points. For each king won through a trick, it's 4 points. For each queen won through a trick, it's 3 points. For each jack won through a trick, it's 2 points. And so you just want to look at your hand and see, hey, based off these card point values, can I actually win a trick? Is it possible? If not, then don't bid the number of points you're bidding for. If you look at your hand and you say, hey, I feel like I have a good hand and I can win this number of points because I'll be able to win a large number of tricks, then go ahead and bid some cards. And so I'm just going to pass on bidding here. I don't really think I can win with the bids I can have. And so let's just just disregard that notice there. But let's just look at what just happened, because a lot just happened there. Computer 2, they made a bid of 105 points. Now, what this means is that they take the Talon. The Talon is the 3 cards in the middle, right? And so you saw him take the 3 cards there. The bid winner adds the 3 cards to their hand, and once again, the bid winner is given another choice to raise the bid. So after he wins the bid, he takes 3 cards from the middle, looks at those 3 cards, and sees if he wants to raise the bid once more. Once the bid is set, either by raising the bid or keeping the bid at what he previously stated, the bid winner passes 1 card face down to each of the players, and so he can choose to keep the best card. And so the bid winner leads the first trick. All other players must play a card in the same suit as led whenever possible. And so just a heads up, this is a Japanese deck, and so the letter cards are different. The T's are aces. The sort of weird O's are the queens, and the kings are the kings. Well, that's just K. And the B's are the jacks. So essentially, the B's are the jacks, the T's are the aces, and the rest you can sort of tell. And so all other players must play a card in the lead in the same suit as led whenever possible. In this case, the suit that was led was spade. We do have a spade, and so we must play the spade because it is possible. The player with the highest ranking card in the lead suit wins the trick. And so once again, the rankings are ace, 10. From highest to lowest, it's ace, 10, king, queen, jack, 9. And so the player that wins the trick leads the next trick, and play continues until all cards have been played. And so note that if you don't have a card in the lead suit, you can play a card from any suit. We know that 9 is the lowest ranking card, and so I will play it. He played a king of spades, and so my lowest ranking card here is actually after a 9, it's a jack, and so I'm going to play any jacks I have. And what just happened there? What just happened there? You just saw something happen there. And so in complicated games like these, we have to talk about the rules as we go. And so what just happened there? Now, let's just talk about a marriage first of all. And so I have a marriage here, right? I have 2 cards, a king and a queen of the same suit. And a player can score for a marriage when having both the king and the queen in the same suit and leading one of them into a trick. And so first I'd have to win a trick. Once you win a trick, you are able to lead a trick, and then I lead a trick with either my king or my queen. And when a marriage gets played, the suit of the marriage becomes a trump suit for the rest of the round, or until a different marriage gets played. A trump suited card will outrank any other suited card to win a trick. And so at the end of the round, players count the cards won, and so we'll talk about that later. But basically, what just happened there is the trump card changed, and that was probably because computer 2 played a marriage card, and so the lowest ranking card after this is going to be the 10, and so sorry, not the 10, the jack. We don't have a jack. And I do want to save my queen in an attempt I can play a marriage. And so I'm going to actually play my king. Well, no. I'm going to actually play my 10. Yeah, my 10. He played an ace, queen of hearts, and so we'll play our ace. And so we win the trick, right? And so now let's talk about the marriage. So a player can score for a marriage when having both the king and the queen in the same suit and leading one of them into a trick. When a marriage gets played, the suit of the marriage becomes the trump suit for the rest of the round, or until a different marriage gets played. So let's play a marriage. Right, and so notice how we just played a marriage there, and look at our point total. And so two things happen. The suit of the marriage becomes the trump suit for the rest of the round until a different marriage gets played. Um, and so the points for marriages. If you have a marriage in the hearts, you get 100 points. If you have a marriage in the diamonds, you get 80 points. If you have a marriage in the clubs, you get 60 points. If you have a marriage in the spades, you get 40 points. We had a marriage in the diamonds there, and so we obtained 80 points towards our point total, going from 18 to 98. Um, and so that's essentially how you play, right? You just want to win tricks. The essential essence of it is win as many tricks as you can. That's the essential essence. Win as many tricks as you can. Win as many tricks as you can. Now, let's talk about the scoring. So, the bidding is essentially you bid points if you feel like you can hit that point total. Other than that, the essential essence of the game is to win as many points as you can. Remember to follow the card ranks: ace, 10, king, queen, jack, 9. It's the simple regular ranks. Just remember that the 10 is above the king. It's between the king and the ace. And so now let's talk about the scoring here. And so if a bid winner, right, in this case the bid winner or the person who bid, they're called the bid winner. If they fail to score the amount of points bid, the bidder score gets reduced by the amount bid. And so you'll see that with computer 2. If a bid winner, computer 2, fails to score the amount of points bid, 105, they scored 99. They failed to score the amount of points bid. Their score gets reduced by the amount bid. The amount bid was 105, and so their score is now negative 105. Players can only bid more than 120 points if they have a marriage in hand. A marriage only gets scored by leading the king or queen after winning a trick, and you saw that. If the first two players pass on a bidding, the dealer is forced to take the middle cards for a bid of at least the middle cards, aka the talon, for a bid of at least 100, and that's what happened there. I passed on bidding. Computer 1 passed on bidding. Computer 2 was forced to take the middle cards for a bid of at least 100. If the bid winner knows they cannot win the amount bid, the bidder can actually give up without playing any tricks. The bidder would then score 0 with all other players scoring 60. And so in this case, Computer 2 decided to take a chance, but he could have given up, scoring 0 points with both me and Computer 1 scoring 60 points. And every time a player scores 0 in a round, okay, so these are just extra rules and we'll talk about them later. But Computer 1 scored 0 points because he won 0 tricks, so he had no cards for which he could score points for. And so I'm actually gonna try to pass here. So I passed. That means Computer 1 was forced to take the talon for a bid of at least 100 points. And so the player actually gave up there. He took the loss right there. And so what happened? He gave up, right? And so the bidder can give up without playing any tricks, right? So if the bid winner knows they cannot win the amount bid, the bidder can give up without playing any tricks. The bidder actually scores negative 100 points. It depends on your version. Some versions they score 0 points. In this version, the bidder scores negative 100 points, and all other players score 60 points. And so once again, I'm going to look at my hand. I don't think I can score 105 points, and so I'm going to pass. Computer 1 took the bid. He took the talon by accepting the bid, giving each player. And once again, so you can take the bid, get the talon, look at the talon, and then raise your bid if you'd like. And that's what Computer 1 did. And so he gave us these cards. And these two players played, and so he started out with an ace of clubs. I know that the ace is the highest value, and so I can't, I'm not even going to try to beat that. And so I'm actually going to play my lowest value, which is a 9. He played a hearts, he played a queen of hearts. I can actually beat that with an ace of hearts, and so that's what I'm going to do. And so a trump was set there, and that's because Computer 1 actually played a card from a marriage. A trump is set, and a subsequent new trump is set whenever a player plays the lead card when they lead a trick with a queen or a king when they have a marriage, right? Because that's how you score a marriage. When a player scores a marriage, a new trump is set. In this case, we'll start out with well, the trump is 9, and so I'll start out with a 9 there. And so computer 1 actually won there. I don't have a. I'm gonna play my lowest value card here, which would be a queen. So we'll play a queen of clovers. Yeah. I have to play a diamond here. Luckily for me, it's an ace of diamonds, and so I'll win the trick. Now I'm going to lead with an ace of spades. Winning the trick. I'm going to lead with a queen of spades. He actually had a 10, which outranks me. And so I'm going to lose this trick anyway. And so, what happened here? Computer 1 won the bid, right? They won the amount of points that were bid. And so what happens is this is actually bad for computer 1. And I'll talk about this for a number of reasons. Computer 1 bid 115. And he scored above 115. But he only gets to actually keep the points that he bid. So even though he scored 154 points, since he bid for 115 points, his actual score at the end of the round is only going to be 115. And so when you bid, you have a chance of losing points if you score extra. And so there's no real point of bidding. You don't really actually want to bid, right? Because it always limits your potential for points. And so my advice, right, for playing 1000, simple as strategy. Number 1, know your card values, right? The 10 is between the ace and the king. All other is just normal. It just follows the normal value. Number 2, you want to win as many tricks as you can. Number 3, you want to score a marriage whenever you can. And number 4, pass on bidding whenever you can. What are the rules for bidding? The player, if both players pass on the bidding and it gets back to the dealer is forced to bid for 100 points and take the 3 cards from the talon. After if a player bids, subsequent players must bid 5 higher or pass. If a player wins a bid, they must, they could take the 3 cards from the take the 3 cards from the middle, aka taking the talon, and redistribute 1 card to each player, face down. And they can, after they do this redistribution, they can choose to raise the bid if they please. So, summing it from the top once again, win as many tricks as you can. Try not to bid. Play a marriage. Lead a hand with a marriage to score a marriage. And just overall be diligent, right, in how you're playing. The only time you need to bid is when you're at 880 points. It's called it's when you're close to winning, and it's called being on the barrel. And when you're at 880 points, and so let's say I'm at 850 points and I score 100 points, my score is only going to go to 880 points. You cap at 880 points from any previous score. And then once you're at 880 points, you must bid 120 points. And you have 3 rounds to get to 1000 points. And if you can, then you win the game. And so that's the essence of it. I hope that summed it up quite well for you. And so it would be tedious to play till 1000, right? It just would be tedious. But so that's the basic rules of how to play 1000. In this case, we were forced to take the bid because we were the dealer, and neither computer 1 or computer 2 took the bid. They both passed. And so if both players pass, then the dealer is forced to bid for 100 points and take the talon. And distribute 2 of the cards to the other players. But that sums up how to play 1000. Once again, you want to win as many tricks as you can. Try not to bid. If you have a marriage, play it. When you get to 880 points, that's the maximum range you can hit, right? So even if you're at 879 and you score 100 points, you're going to go to 880 first, right? Because your maximum potential from points scored is at 880 no matter what. You have to cap there and then you bid 120 points. That is the only way you can win, by getting to 1000. From 880 points to 1000 points, you have to bid 120 points, and you have 3 rounds to do so. If after 3 rounds you cannot, you lose 120 points. If in those 3 rounds you do end up winning a bid of 120 points, then you get to 1000 and you win the game. That wraps up how to play 1000.